Hello and welcome to New Wave Hockey. I'm your host, Link Dancevich, and today we're going to get into the final draft rankings of the year. Now, I'm only going to be going over 64 prospects in this video. If you want to check out my full list, go look at my Instagram. I just posted my top 150, and go read my article I just posted, newwavehockey.com. It's a very special article. I spent a lot of time on it. I will go into more depth there than I do in this video because I'm trying to keep this a little bit brief. This is going to be more of a podcast style. Going to be nice, chill, relax. You put this on when you're going to work. I'm going to be telling you my point of view from, if not all the prospects, all the prospect tiers. I'm going to at least mention everybody in the order that I've got them. So just take a seat, relax, enjoy this one. But before we get right into it, let me quickly plug, like, subscribe, throw me down a comment if you don't agree with any of these picks, or if you don't agree with one of these picks. If you have a question, let me know. I will be engaged in discussion in my comments section. If you have any questions at all, read the article, put a question in my comment section. I'll respond to all of it. I promise. If I don't respond to your comment, write an angry letter. Promise. Let's get right into it. Starting with Michael Misa, he's my number one prospect. That hasn't changed throughout the entire year. Basically, what he's done this year has become undeniable. He is a star. I think he's going to be a fantastic player, where I think he really could be a top 10, top 15 player in the league. I think he has the potential to perennially put up 100 points a year. We're in that era now, all right? Scoring's gone up, right? Let's not act like this is a big thing. Minimum, I think he's going to be able to put up like 60, 70, 80 point seasons up every single season. So Michael Misa, what he's done this year, he also plays a perfect game. He can drive the middle, he can play the perimeter, he can be the playmaker, he can be the shooter, he can be everything. So I just felt that he had too many tools, he had too much success this year, he had too much going for him, and didn't even play in the World Juniors for me to rank him outside of the number one spot. Number two, very close behind, I will say. It's been like this for a while. You're not going to see a lot of changes in my top 10. Matthew Schaefer, he goes number two. We talk about it all year. He was the best player in his 18-game sample size in every single game. He looks like he's going to be a number one defenseman. Left-hand shot in the model of like a Roman Josi, a Miro Heiskanen. You just absolutely love to see what he's done all year. And he's 17. He's going to be 17 until September 5th. That's nuts. So he just did all this in a 17-year season. Well, a guy like James Higgins was 18 for pretty much the entire season. That's pretty impressive, to say the least. At number three, James Higgins. It's not changed at all. Boston College. He played really well. People really don't give him enough credit for how well he played. I think he was still a fantastic distributor. He was a great playmaker. I think he made Ryan Leonard's case for the Hobey Baker as strong as it was. I'm a little shocked that Leonard didn't win it. I think it was a really tight race this year for the Hobey Baker, and that was partially because Higgins was feeding Leonard like it was no tomorrow. But I think that also factored into why he didn't officially win it. Leonard had more help than a guy like Isaac Howard did. Not shaming either player, but Higgins really was key to his success, and also Gabe Perreault's success. I think he's the best skating forward in this draft. I think he's got, if not the highest, the second highest upside in this entire draft. And I think you can't go wrong when you're going after a guy like this. So I really believe it. I do. So he's going to be fantastic. Don't count him out. Don't have him falling outside of your top five. Let's be real here. Let's be considerate. Number four doesn't change at all, but Caleb Denoyer is at my number four pick. I think he's the third best center in this draft. He really showed off everything that he's able to do in the playoffs. He's got that shot. He's got a pretty solid playmaking ability. And he's got some pretty good physicality. You look at a player like Beckett Seneca last year, how quick his rise was through the OHL playoffs. And I'm looking at Caleb Denoyer, and the QMJHL, he played through two sprained or broken wrists through the end of the year. He had to deal with a lot. That's a playoff player right there. And I really like Caleb Denoyer just ahead of my number five pick, and that's Anton Frondell. There was a lot of noise about Anton Frondell, and I know WJC rankings, my boy is going to be not happy about this, me having him all the way down at 5, but I do. He was one of the hottest prospects of the second half of this season. He kind of cooled off in the minds of the public towards the end, and now he's just heating right back up. Right? Everyone thinks he's going to be, he's going to go second overall, he's going to go third overall. Regardless, he has a tremendous ceiling. He's got an incredible shot. I think it's the second best shot in the class. He's got the best slap shot, bar none. It's crazy. And his offensive instincts are going to translate. I don't think that he's a center. I think he's a wing, but mainly because of the transition. I think the skating is a big issue. It's one that is not talked about enough. He is able to catch up, but he's not able to drive a line. I think that's the critical factor here. He doesn't have dynamic skating that I feel that the others do. And I feel that Caleb Denoye is a little bit more well-rounded, has a bit of a higher floor, but Frondel has an absolutely higher ceiling. So if you want to argue with me about Denoye and Frondel, go ahead. It's all up to you guys. So I like Frondel too. That's why I have him number 5. I feel like if you say I don't like Anton Frondel, I think you're kidding yourself. One of the 2 changes inside of my top 10, Victor Eklund is now 6 and Porter Martone is now 7. I don't think Anton Frondel has as good a season that he has without Victor Eklund. He was fantastic. The skating was great. The passing skills were excellent. I really can't make any more excuses about this. He's 5'11" and he's 169 pounds. But yes, cool. Did you watch him play at all this year? He was playing against men. He was stacking up physically against men, and he's 5'11". Yes, he's one of the oldest players in this class, but he's shown that he can compete. He's shown that he can play with the big dogs. If he falls outside of the top 10, I'm going to be really mad. I really will. So yeah, Porter Martone falls to 7. It's tough. It's really tough because I know I'm going to look like I have egg on my face if he ends up panning out and doing the awesome things that we know that he has the capabilities of doing. But I think this fall to 7 for me and for some other people kind of comes because a lack of expectations. I think the top of this class is very top heavy. We talk about this class being weak all the time. That's not true. It's top heavy. It's a little weak at the end, but it's not tremendously weak. I still think you're getting a player out of Martone. I think you're getting a very good player, a very solid player. I think he's got a higher of a floor than other people. I really do. But you have to kind of classify that he is a playmaker. He is somebody who is going to use finesse more than he's going to use his big body, because that's just the player he's become. And that's the player that he's going to grow into. He's not going to be Matt Tkachuk. Sorry to say. Moving on to Jake O'Brien at 8. People think that I'm crazy to have him this low, but there was a time where Jake O'Brien really did not look like he was going to be this high on my list, and I was a believer in Jake O'Brien. I was a believer in Jake O'Brien since last year. I will shout out my boy Sam at St. Laurent. I'll see if you're watching this. If you're not, still love you, man. But he was someone that I watched frequently last year when I was watching his Merrick Van Acker scouting report and also subsequent Merrick Van Acker viewings. Jake O'Brien was fantastic. He was part of the reason why Nick Lardis was so good this year and Merrick Van Acker was so good last year. He's a great distributor. However, I get too worried about the skating. I think the edge work is fine. It's really solid, but he's slow. And you worry about the pace 5v5. And we talk about players who like to slow the game down. That's something that we love to talk about. If a guy can skate really well and is really fast, but can slow the play down with his hands, that's what Connor Bedard could do. That's what Ivan Demidov could do. I don't think it's the same case with Jake O'Brien. He's going to be a fantastic power play player. I just don't think that he is going to be the number 1 seed that everyone's hoping for out of this pick. At number 9, I have Roger McQueen. Yeah, I'm taking that big swing. I like him top 10. You all saw my video. If you didn't, go watch the video. I did a scouting report on Roger McQueen. Big fan of him. Love what he can do. 6'5". He's the most natural center, I think, out of the bunch. The back injury scares me a bit, but it only scared me back to 9. 17 games. It's a sample size that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with. Same with Schaefer, but Schaefer looked great. McQueen also looked great. I think there's a very projectable player there. I think you're getting a lot of NHL games out of this guy. It's just a matter of how much offense are you getting? How much offense are you going to get from Roger McQueen? That's kind of the key distributor here. You're going to get a guy who is going to turn into Quinn Byfield or Tage Thompson, or somebody who's going to turn into a Charlie Coyle and have to mature his game out. He's got a baby face. I think there's a lot more growing that McQueen has, so we'll see. I'm very optimistic. All right, now we're moving into the third tier here. I feel like the tiers kind of just go from 1 to 3. Obviously, Hagens, Misa, Schaefer. Some people argue if Hagens isn't even in there. To those people, I say, I'm a Hagens guy. Then second tier is 4 through 9, the guys that just went through. And the third tier, I think these guys, this is where the drop-off starts. I think that you're still getting some good players here. Jackson Smith's at my 10, left-handed defenseman. He is, the tools are just unreal. They're out of this world. You kind of can't pass him up almost. He's the best transition defenseman in the draft. He Wow, the skating is great. The puck carrying is really solid. He's going to go to Penn State next year. I am ecstatic. And he's 6'4" too. This guy has all the tools. And the eye test, you take this guy top 5. But defensive awareness is huge. Coaching is huge. The details in his game are flawed. They totally are. The potential is sky high. And him going to college gives him a better chance to realize that. He's a very raw prospect. He needs to spend at least 2 years in college. At least. At least. Let's see you win a Hobie Baker, man. You can also win a natty for Penn State. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. So moving on to 11, I have another highly rated defenseman, Radim Murtka. He is a tower. He is 6'6". He plays great rush defense, and he's going to be a really solid defensive defenseman who has an intriguing mix of puck carrying ability. I am going to take that all the time. The upside's super high. A lot of people they underplay what he brings to a roster. And his skating's deadly for his size. He really is. He's not going to be an offensive threat. But he creeps up into the zone. The amount of skating that he's done this year, 28 minutes a night this guy's been averaging, all right? He's been out there for a lot of minutes for Seattle. And the offensive confidence that his coach has been giving him, that speaks for something, all right? He's been able to round out his game a lot better in Seattle than he did over in Czechia, and I've been a big fan of it. I really, really have. So Murtka finds himself at 11 for me. It's hard for me to see him outside of the top 11. I really is, especially because I like number 12 a lot. Justin Carbonneau. He's rumored to go to BC. He's probably going to go to BC. He had a fantastic year at Blandville in the Q. It nearly killed me to have him at 12 because I think he really can push a top 10 spot. I really do. I love my shooters. I really, really do. He happens to have the best shot in the draft, and I will defend that. I will. I think he's got a fantastic wrister, the best wrister in the class, but what makes him so deadly is his ability to take a shot from anywhere on the ice. Oh yeah, a deadly shot too. That's why Matteo Nobert was so great. He's on this list too. But yeah, he really just creates such great opportunities for his teammates off just rebounds. And he already has 40 plus goals in the year. So Justin Carbonneau, you're getting everything and more with the shot, just the shot. And then we're not even getting into the deception with his skating, his stick handling, and also some of the passes he makes are top notch. You're really getting an underrated prospect here. I'm talking similarly to how I talked about Cole Yzerman this year, and he rounded out his game very, very well at Boston. So don't be surprised. Again, I think you could see a similar thing out of JC. So Logan Hensler, he's at my 13th spot. He's the most stable defenseman in the draft, actually outside of Schaefer. It's just so key. He played such a great role at Wisconsin. He struggled early, but people didn't pay attention to his latter half of the season. He got way, way better at defense. Oh my gosh. Looking at him at the USN TDP, he was somebody that I saw 6'2", and the offensive upside that he had, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to explode for points. He didn't, but it was still there. You saw spurts of it. It was a bad Wisconsin team, so he was kind of thrown out into some tough situations. I really, really link him to Cam Fowler a lot, and people underrate how good Cam Fowler was for a long, long time. He's going to be a very stable defenseman on the back end, and he can eat minutes. He really can. I think his development as a two-way defenseman has been invaluable this year. He really has shown a lot of development that I just didn't think was there earlier on. So yeah, he's been fantastic. Moving on to 14, I've got Brady Martin here. He falls to 14. I don't really see him moving into the top 10 for me. I don't see it. Yes, very physical. Yeah, he's got a great hitting ability. He's got some good highlights. But the offensive game's a little muted. We got to be honest here. There's a little bit iffiness on the offensive game. Defensively, very stout, very sound. I think he's going to round out to more of a Troy Terry type of guy. That's kind of what you have to hope with him. I know he's 6 foot even, but the arsenal is not packed with offensive tools, and you gotta have to just take that. He's going to be a middle six center. I like the way that he plays. Who doesn't? So we will see what he does. He's a good net front presence as well. I like him. Malcolm Spence at 15, committed to Michigan, one of the oldest players in this entire draft. He's really one of my personal favorite players in this draft. he can take over games. That's really why he's so high. He really has that amazing ability to take over games. He really did for some Erie games this year. Some of those he didn't. The compete is a bit of concern. Consistency is a bit of a concern. However, he did play through an infection all year. He lost a ton of weight. So, grain of salt given. I've given him a grain of salt. Michigan will be a true test. He'll be 19, and this will be a big season for him. So, I like it. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. At 16, Keishan Aitchison, left-hand defenseman from Barrie. I have a signed puck from Mr. Aitchison. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Besides that, big hitter. A lot of goals. We don't really rate goal-scoring defensemen as high as we should. All right, 20 goals is impressive, especially on that blue line. All right, Barrie plays more conservative, and this guy has a very solid defensive awareness around him. I think people are underrating the defensive aspects of his game. Big fan of Keishan Aitchison. I hope he goes high. I really do. I like him. Number 17, Cullen Potter. I'm taking swings on guys that I like at this point. So speedy. This guy's wicked fast. He's got great skill. You love the stick handling and the shot. He rejuvenated an Arizona State hockey team that didn't look like it was going to compete all that much in the NCHC, but he made them a very competitive team. He wasn't the number one guy, but he injected some life into there, and that's a very fun destination now. Ben Keevan's going down there now, a couple other guys. It's exciting. I'm excited. I'm invigorated too. I would love to see, I can't wait to see what Cullen Potter does there for the next 1, 2, I hope 2 years, because I think he'd be very fun to see for the next 2 years in college hockey. At 18, Lyndon Lakovic, Moose Jaw. Tools out the wazoo. One of the highest upsides. 6'4", puck-carrying winger. Excellent transition. Very solid shot. But we get concerned about the shot selection, the passing game, the lack of physicality. He grew a bit into his body. Let's be fully transparent. He had a growth spurt, and he's still getting used to that body. But we got to see what he can be. He's got a very high upside. He might take a bit to develop. Still raw. Big guys take a bit to develop. But I really think there's something here. I really do. So I like him at 18. I'm a bit more conservative. I think he has a role, even if he doesn't reach the heights that we think he's going to hit. That's why I have him here at 18. 19, Bill Zonin. He is just... You can't help but love this guy. I think that I'm one of the lower guys on Pilsonen too, which is kind of telling you something, because there are people that really like this guy. 6'2", he plays a lot taller. There's a lot of heart with this guy. It overwrites a lot of issues in skating, in stick handling. He's able to pass the puck really well. I would almost classify him as a defensive genius. He's great on retrievals. He's great along the boards. He's going to be one of those players that fans fall in love with. You got to love it. At number 20, Milton Gastrine. He ends here. He's not moving anymore. I've talked about Milton Gastrine all year. He's really one of my favorite players. Solid two-way game that you're getting out of him with great skating and some decent offensive upside. I see Mikhail Granlund here. And if you say, oh, I wouldn't take a swing on Mikhail Granlund here, it's pick 20. I'm taking a swing on a guy who could be Mikhail Granlund, maybe a pick 15. I love what he brings to the table. I think he's so mature. He didn't score the amazing amount of points in the J20, but he played well in the SHL. I really liked his game there. For a bad Moto team, he looked pretty solid. And he was the captain of the U18s. He looked pretty good there. I'm not saying the tournament's the be-all, end-all, but he looked pretty good there as well. Now this is where I feel like the draft kind of starts to fall off. These guys here, they're very high-risk, high-reward players, or they're somebody that I like in a role. There's not going to be your high-flying upside guys. They're not going to be guys that I think are your sure things, but, we're taking chances here. All right? The draft kind of falls off here. I still think there are first-rounders in this area, but I'll tell you when I think the last first-rounder is here. But Alexander Zarovsky, he is a first-rounder. This guy is boom or bust. Very much so. I know people have been very high on him lately, and I might be one of the more high people on him. He's a very, very sweet prize if developed properly. He's got explosive offensive firepower, and I even see him playing more of a role player's game. In the KHL, he played for UFA in the playoffs, and he honestly translated really solidly. I think his game is very translatable. Again, you got to work out some of the defensive kinks. You got to work on some of the details in his game, but I think you have a player here. and a player that could be very solid upside-wise for you in the future. Moving on to Ben Kindell, 22. I talked about this guy. Undersized player, but he thinks the game and plays the game the right way. Tremendously smart in the offensive zone. I like comparing him to a guy like Marco Rossi. Yeah, look how that turned out. Great pick. So he might be a flyer too. So good on you, Ben Kindell. I really am a big fan of him. I'll advocate for him any day. Blake Fiddler down here at 23, right shot. I kind of didn't know where else to put him. 6'4", the way that he skates, you can't not have him high. I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't concerned about some of the details in his game. I think he's a great rush defender, but I don't know what he's gonna be. He doesn't really play a very translatable game. He plays a very WHL style game right now, and he did perform well in the U18s. I will say that, but we'll see what he ends up becoming with him. I like his game. I think he's a very fun player to watch. I just don't know if he's a very translatable player. So we'll see. 23 is where he lands. 24, Cameron Reed. Here's a player who, if he did have Blake Fiddler's size, this guy would be in a top 10 discussion, right? That sounds like a Keaton Bearhoff. Very great skater, awesome stick, and he supports the rush really well. I love the offensive dynamics in his game, but his skating allows him to back check really well, close gaps, stick check. He does it all really, really well. I think you're going to see it more of a Gus Forsling kind of guy with Cam Reed. 25, I have Braden Coots. He's a firecracker. You really like this. He skates like a bat out of hell. Covers a lot of ice. A little bit worried about his IQ, but his energy and scoring prowess, very hard to deny. He is somebody that I think if he pans out, he's going to be a very good third line or second line center. I really like this guy. I think he's going to be one of those players that is going to be really solid on a championship winning team as like a third line center, and then a team overpays him in the summer. That's the type of player that I'm hoping Braden Coots becomes, because I love to see it. Brandon Hagel type of player right here. 26, I have Shane Van Saggy. He's rough. He's tough. He gets physicality going. I really like his game. Big and brooding. He plays a playoff level game. I have to love it here at 26. 27, I have Carter Amico. I've gone on rants about Carter Amico. 6'6", 230 pounds, and he's physical, and he moves really, really well. I have given a lot of grace with his small sample size because he played against colleges in that sample size, and he looked solid in that sample size. He's going to be playing at BU next year. I think he's going to be one of the most physical players in the NCAA next year, and people will see. He is dominant physically, and he can skate the puck out of his own zone really well. I really like the player. The leg injury hurts, so we will see what happens, but I'm going to advocate for Carter Amico every single day. Cole Retchney, no player was hotter than Cole Retchney to end this season. He was fantastic. You got a lot of IQ with him. You got a lot of great passing prowess. A little bit worried about the skating and the pace of play. He looks like he could be a very solid WHL player. All right. Some people give visions of Andrew Kristahl, but he's going to North Dakota. He's going to learn a game that is going to be translatable. He is a first rounder every single day. And then the last first rounder caliber player on my list, I still have 3 more players that are in my first round. Will Horkoff, NTDP to Michigan. It says something when you play in a junior league and then you go play against men. The NCAA is against men. Let's be real, guys. When you play against men, you get better. And that was Will Horkoff this season. He went to Michigan. He played better. And he was trusted more. And the offensive upside is there. We saw it in the USNTDP. Even if he plays a muted role, taking him back here in the bottom half of the first round, you get a translatable player like that. He'll be in your lineup sooner rather than later, and he'll be getting some of those greasy goals. Now moving on to 30. I'm gonna get a little bit of flack for this, but I got Carter Bear here at 30. Yeah, look, and I just talked about translatability and offensive prowess and compete with Horkoff. It's different with Bear. He's got all that, not the offensive prowess. He's got the compete. He's got the motor. He's got the drive. This guy loves physicality. All right, I love this level that he brings his game to every night. The compete will never be in question for me. Never. I think he will carve himself a role in an NHL lineup. Just depends on how long that role lasts. I don't buy the offensive upside that some people are selling me. I don't. I really, really don't. I like his hands and some of his creativity. but I think he's too ineffective to be an offensive talent. I think it stems from his skating. He can't really create optimal space for himself, and I feel like a lot of the points he got this year, that's a product of his team being really good and the WHL a little bit. You can hate me all you want. I know people are gonna hate on me for not liking Carter Bear as much as other people do, but hey, he's in my first round. Barely, he's in my first round. But I really don't know if he's a guy that I would take a swing on this early, especially kind of just considering everything that I've seen this year. Moving on to 31, Daniil Prokhorov. However you say it. He is a niche player. He's got some niche level skill. I had Bear ahead of him because you're taking a swing on this guy. This guy, you're taking a daddy hack at this guy. He is somebody, if he hits, he's going to hit hard. Skating's great. Shot, stick handling, he is an offensive creator. He's going to go to the net with the puck, and he's going to try to score. 20 goals in that short sample size in the MHL. However, you worry about his off-puck issues. You worry about what his role is going to be when he doesn't have the puck on his stick. He is a power play type of player. He's a net front type of player. The 6'6", I feel like you can coach him to be somewhat effective where the defense will matter to some extent, but he's a risk. But the offensive upside, high with Prokhorov. At 32, Jakubis Wozniak. I've been all over the place with him. I'm just kind of settling here with him because I feel like the amount of talent that he has, the tools that he has, the records that he's put up in the J20, they're really, really impressive. And he scored 2 points in the SHL. He played a good amount of minutes for a Swedish prospect in the SHL, the top league in Sweden, by the way, not the Allsvenskan. Yeah, I know, I'm not giving Frundell and Eklund any slack, but he's Wozniak. He showed off what he could be, but the compete, the IQ, I look at and I see Columbus Blue Jackets, like, end of that time, Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's bad. It's real bad. Hopefully he can have like that like pendulum type of career like Dubois, but I don't trust him enough to rank him any higher than this, but I can't rank him any lower than this because, dude, those tools are nuts. 33, I have Cole McKinney, the center. He is a dyed-in-the-wool center. He's a Michigan University commit, and I would not be surprised if he takes that second center spot if Hage ends up staying. If Hage ends up leaving, Cole McKinney, he caught fire at the end of the year for the USNTDP. He's a younger player, too. I think he's really in contention for a first-round pick. His talent as a center is undeniable. Very hard-nosed two-way game. Really, really solid. Just a force in the face-off circle. He's got some shooting prowess, some stick handling prowess. He can create. He's a very creative type of player. The size kind of does him some injustice, but he plays the game really solid at a two-way level. I like Anton Lundell as a comparison. Moving on, let's keep these a little bit more brief. I'm sorry, yeah, wasting a lot of your time. Sasha Boumedienne here at 34. Offensive defenseman. Love it. He had a solid end of the year. The U18s brought his stock way back up, and I looked at his Boston U tape. It wasn't as bad as I first thought. Skating is an issue, though. All right, retrievals are going to be his game, and that's kind of what you're going to have to deal with him, but you're getting an offensive defenseman. You like it. 35, Eddie Genborg. Nails. He is nails. Two-way menace. He played really solidly in the SHL. You're hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't have Eddie Genborg as at least an early second rounder or a late first, because he just kind of provides the subsequent offense, but also the kind of nails two-way game that he plays. I love the effort. I love the potential grinder role he could take up, even if he doesn't hit the high floor that people are expecting. I think he's going to be quite a player. So there you go. 36, Riker Lee. The shot's nuts. It's insane. His stick handling's very solid too. Very great release. You have to be when you're the leading goal scorer in the USHL. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It is for draftier players. But the skating, that's where my issue lies. So he's probably going to be a gadget player at the next level, so we'll see. 37, Kurban Limitov, Moscow Dynamo. A little bit all over the place on him. Large defenseman, 6'4", solid future as a puck carrier and a rush queller. He's just someone in my mind who I saw as very solid, but also having the subsequent offensive abilities that I think can carry him over the top into the NHL. So we will see what he does. I like a lot of his game, not all of his game, but we'll see. Jack Nesbitt falls all the way here to 38. Another controversial one here. Like his speed, I really do, but I found, looking at the big four forwards in Windsor, in a lot of the games that he played, I was drawn to Protas. Green Tree, obviously, and Belchitz more than I was drawn to Nesbitt, really, honestly. Maybe that's controversial to say. I like the tools of the other guys a lot better, personally. And I felt that he had more upside as a two-way player as much as a scorer, so we'll see what happens. He's still a big player, skates pretty big. He can develop into something really nice, too. 39, first goalie, Joshua Ravensbergen, 6'5", and as quick as he is, and as technical as he is, you're getting a special player here. You are. I don't think this is a year where you take him in the first round. I'm not a big advocate for taking goalies in the first round, but with Joshua Ravensbergen, he's someone that I have ranked as high as he has. I think he's the top guy in this class. It speaks for itself. He's able to move really, really well for a tall guy. He catches right, which is interesting, and he's got a pretty good glove hand, so very solid. Moving to 40, Václav Nestrasil. I had to come around on him. I really did. But 6'6", he skates pretty good for 6'6", and he's got a solid offensive upside. You've got all the things that you had in Daniil Prokhorov. Just tone back the offensive upside and tone up the power forward angle, because he's a bit physical too. I like that. 41, David Bedkowski from Owen Sound. Really, this is the first of a lot of big, tall defensemen that skate kind of well that I like in this range. He's a wall, and he's very physical too. I like the skating ability that he has. He's able to carry the puck, and he's shown some end-to-end rushes. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice when you're that big. Jack Murtagh, right here at 42. Going to Boston U next year, and he's going to look really solid. The tools are fantastic. He played as a 17-year-old the entire year, August 22nd birthday. He's going to be an 18-year-old in college the whole year. Yep. This guy is very solid. I think he's a lot more to bring us in his next year. This is a kind of upside pick that I have here. I think that he's going to translate really well. I think there's more offensive upside that a lot of people aren't seeing. He's a 3 or 4 year college type of guy. So I think you're going to get a lot out of him, but he's got to translate. He's got to, round out his game, but he's very athletic. I love it. 43, Roman Bausov, a vanilla game. He plays a very boring, vanilla, defensive game. But he's 6'5", and he skates pretty good. I like his game. I really do. I think it's very translatable. I see Marcus Pedersen all over this guy. A middle pairing shutdown guy, take that any day of the week in the second round. 44, go Orange. Hayden Papanekas. I love his game. He's a beast. He plays a big game. He features some solid offensive talent, and he was on fire when he got traded to Kelowna. He really kind of cooled off towards the end of the season with Kelowna. I mean, he played a good game in Lethbridge, but when he went to Kelowna, came on really hot, finished really poorly. That was a bad team towards the end, and he kind of he had to play some hard defensive minutes that round you out as a prospect. He's going to be a very solid power forward center for a bit. I think he can translate, and he's going to have a chance to play games, especially with that size, especially with the skating. With the offensive upside, why wouldn't you? Come on. 45, I have Henry Brustevich. This might be another controversial one for having him as low as I do. London turns out NHL-ready players. He supports the rush. He's a very simple, effective game. He closes gaps. He's pretty fast. I'm a little bit worried about some of his four-way mobility, but he's pretty fast. I mean, I don't see a tremendous amount of offensive upside with him, but you're getting a solid two-way defenseman out of him. Stability is key. Look at how high I had Logan Hensler. So Henry Brustevich, he falls here. 46, Matthew Guard, over to from Red Deer. He's a very complete player. He plays a very complete game, very consistent in offensively, defensively as well. I don't think he has a ton of offensive upside, but he's a guy you're going to want to have him on your third or fourth line someday soon. And I'll take those guys at 46, all right? I'll take the swings on the guy that I think is going to be an NHLer, all right? There might be some people that have higher upsides, but they have also have higher risks at this level, in my opinion. So give me Matthew Guard here. Jacob Rombach, 47, from Lincoln, left-hand defenseman. He carries it. He carries the puck very well. He's going to Minnesota next year. He's a tower. He's a physical tower as well. For the second straight year, I've got a big player, a big back-end defenseman from Lincoln. But the thing is with Adam Kleber last year is he was more defensively skilled. He had better defensive awareness, not as physical, but Rombach does skate better. He does carry the puck better. I think you're going to like a shutdown defenseman in Jacob Rombach. 48, I have my second goalie on the list, Pyotr Andreanov. I had to move him back a little bit, like 2 or 3 spots because of that contract. It's not ideal to have somebody who's under contract till 2030, especially when they're a goalie and you want control over them, especially in the KHL where some coaches can be a little crazy. But he was unbeatable down low. His pads are great. He's able to kick away a lot of chances. He's got some good rebound control when it does go above his pads. I'm a big fan of what he can do. I think he has the highest upside of all the goalies in the class. I think Ravensburgen, you're getting a goalie there. You're getting someone who's going to the NHL, minimum. Pyotr Andreanov, it's a little bit up in the air. He could be a KHL guy for the rest of his life, but he could be the best goalie out of this class. So you kind of have to balance that. 49, I have Maxim Agafonov from Tolpar Ufa. Right-hand defenseman, 6'2", good skating in a straight line. The backward skating is not ideal. I'm a little bit worried about some of his defensive habits and defensive details in his game, but he could be an offensive defenseman in the NHL. He could. He follows the play really, really well, and I like his power play upside, as crazy as that sounds. At 50, I have Eric Nilsson. I wanted to rank him lower. I did, because I'm a little bit biased against smaller centers, but when you're that talented of a playmaker, you can skate that well, even though he played most of the season in the J20, it translates. And he's going to Michigan State next year, so he's going to be playing college level hockey. He's going to be playing North American ice and against men. So we'll see how he translates. I really think he's got a great shot over at Michigan State, so we'll see what he can do. 51, Kirill Yemelyanov, another Russian player that I like. High upside, high risk. Explosive player, effective center, great skating, solid offensive habits, physical in the offensive zone. This guy wants the puck on his stick. He does too much, though, with the puck. He does too much and racks up some penalty minutes, so I'm a little bit, up in the air. High upside with Kirill Yemelyanov. High risk. So we'll see what he ends up becoming. But I look at some of the plays that he makes, and I literally, he's JG Pageau on the 2017 Ottawa Senators. He makes those types of plays. He's very explosive. 52, Charlie Trethaway. He's gotten some slack for a lot of this year, but no matter how you slice it, he showed off solid defensive abilities this season. He will be a wall on that Boston U back line, and he's got quite a shot backing him up. He can pass the puck around pretty solidly, and he compares himself to Charlie McAvoy, which is always nice. He knows his game. It's very simple. It's very stable. He's got this. 53, I have Peyton Kettles from Swift Current, another shutdown defenseman, another big guy, one of the youngest guys in this entire class. Stick and gap control is the name of the game here, and on the power play, this was interesting to mention, he is a net front presence as a 6'6" defenseman. That's pretty interesting. So, 54, I have Brandon Gorzinski. I've had a lot of people kind of be like, oh, I don't know if this is the right pick here, but I like his upside. He's a very solid competitive player. He's a workhorse. His skates really, really well. I think he can carve himself out like a Ross Colton type of role on a playoff team. It might take a little bit. He might have to go to the NCAA, but I can totally see it in Gorzinski. Maybe he's a little bit raw, but the traits are there, and I think it's very translatable. I'm a little bit less worried about whether he makes it to the NHL. It's about what role will he have when he gets there. 55, Mason West. You gotta love the pedigree here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, if he wasn't playing high school football in the fall, I'd have him higher. And I know that sounds wild. I would love to see him go to the WHL. I would want to see him in college next year. I do. I really, really do. But he's going to Edina next year. He's going to play with Fargo next year as well. He's playing high school football in the fall of next season. He's a senior in high school next year. He's got to be a kid sometimes. But he's big. He's physical. He's solid along the wall. He's got some decent hands. He's a guy that is the chance of all chances. I think he's one of the highest risk players, but he's got some high reward with him too as well. 56, Petteri Rimpinen. I thought he was fantastic when I saw him in person. He's my highest overager on the list. I saw him in person in Espoo in Finland. I saw 2 SHL games, and I was lucky enough to catch a Kiekko Espoo game. He was a tremendous wall there, and I really didn't understand the hype. I saw the World Juniors. I saw his domination. I'm like, solid. That's just the World Juniors. He could be another Adam Guyan. I saw it when I saw that Liga game. This guy's legit. I think if he makes it, because he is a smaller goalie, he's gonna have to continue playing in the Liga. He might have to come over to America a little bit earlier than expected. He's got to play on North American ice, but I think he can make it. I really do. 57, Max Sinichka from Portland. He came over to the WHL after Murtka made it cool, but he still made a name for himself. All right, I really like his skating ability. I don't think his speed's that great, but he's able to cover a lot of ice for himself. He's able to put pressure on opponents. He's a really good in-zone defender. I think he's way more translatable than people give him credit for. So we will see what he becomes. Looks like a Joel Edmondson type of guy. Stable. I like stable. At 58, Philip Ekberg, he had a rough year in Ottawa. He kind of did. But then he went to the U18s, broke some records. He looked pretty solid. Pretty solid is an understatement. He looked like a star on that Sweden team. And I'm not saying one tournament makes your year. I mean, he's back at 58 here. But he has got the playmaking abilities and the crafty winger abilities that makes me think he could make it. He can make it and play some solid games in the NHL. So 58, I'm taking Philip Ekberg. 59, here's another high-risk, high-reward player from Russia. Dmitry Isayev. Yeah, he's 5'9", but he's a ball of fire. Oh, and he competes as hard as Colin Potter does as well. I mean, he lets you know his energy the entire game, but he can skate really well. He's got a solid vision, and he's got a really nice shot. I like his stick handling. Dude, give him a shot. Give him some chances. I think he really I think he's going to feature on that KHL Yekaterinburg for quite a bit, and he might be someone who doesn't end up getting drafted. I could totally see it, but he's someone that I would totally take a chance on looking at this draft. 60, I have Malte Voss, physical defenseman. He's always going to rate highly in my book. He's as physical as they come. He's dependable around the wall, both physically and also retrieval-wise. I like the stability you get with him. Now at 61, Ivan Ryabkin. There are two players in this bottom half here I'm going to talk about for a little bit longer. Ivan Ryabkin, I'm shocked that I have him this high. I am. This is sort of a thing where if he works out, if Ivan Ryabkin goes to the NHL, because I think it's an if more than a when, he's going to be known for his playmaking, sure, but he's going to have to be a pest, because that's at the end of the day what you're getting in Ivan Ryabkin. He came over to Michigan and he was a dirty player. That's what you're getting here. You gotta embrace it. You gotta love it. What he does, he's not the best skater. I think he's honestly regressed from skating. He's put on some weight. He did show off some solid shooting ability, but the passing was great, as always, as we saw last year in his MHL season. But he's physical, and he's going to let you know it. And he's going to get a little dirty at times, but you have to embrace it. You have to love it. I could see a playoff team taking a chance on this guy. It would be in the second or third round, but I can see it. At 62, Semyon Frolov, he put up some of the best numbers in the entire draft out of any single goalie this year. And he put up a lot better numbers than Andreanov. However, he played behind a better defensive structure. There, I said it. I like his upside. I like his contract better. But his movement and reaction time weren't wowing me. But again, I didn't think that the shots that he was facing were as good as Rimpinen's, Andreanov's, Ravensburgen's. But he put up the numbers, and he looked pretty solid too. He's someone who's going to get drafted pretty high this year. At 63, here we go. Nobody has really heard of this guy. Ate Yoki from Lukko. Finnish centerman. He is a compete monster. He's somebody who, if he pans out, I'm going to be laughing at all of your faces. I love this player. His defensive abilities have NHL bound written all over them. His compete, very, very solid. And with the puck, he's pretty smart too. All right, he's able to distribute. He's able to work behind the net too. He's a creative player. And he's a bit of a long shot. Obviously, he's got to round out his game. Right? He's got to play a lot of hockey over this next few years, right? But Ate Yoki, I think he's a guy that later in the rounds, people look at him and be like, oh, this is an interesting prospect here. He's scoring a lot in the Liga. He might even come over pretty early and put up some impressive numbers in the AHL. He might be in the bottom 6 of a NHL roster in 4 years, and people look at him and like, man, this guy's a great competitive player. He's a good two-way player. Wonder where he came out of. He came out of Lukko in Finland. Keep your eye on this guy. And at 64, my last prospect that I will be talking about in this video. And boy, I did not think I would get to him being here. Cameron Schmidt. 5'7" sucks. It really sucks, especially when you have the amazing skating, the amazing shot that he has. Offensively, he's brilliant. Great. Coming down on rushes, he's a fantastic player. And he showed that in the WHL. He really did. Vancouver loved his play. And I'm not saying that lack of size can't work. Look at Colin Potter. My issue mainly comes in with the compete. His off-puck compete is horrible. And that's going to be the thing that sinks him one day. I think if he doesn't make the NHL, that's going to be why. But if he does, it's because the tools carried him, and he somehow rounds out the compete a little bit where he's able to, have that two-way kind of game. I don't see any rationale to have him as a first-round pick, but I have him here just so I don't have egg on my face if he does make the NHL. So we will see what happens there, but thank you so much for listening. I just kind of rambled here for about 40 minutes. We'll see if it's a little bit more over than that, but yeah. 64 prospects, my top 150 posted on Instagram. Check out my full write-ups on newwavehockey.com. Check out my mock draft, which is probably going to drop tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see. If I don't get it out, it will be dropped on draft day. So, again, a lot of speculation, a lot of what have yous and whatever. But I've been your host, LinkedAn Savage. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment down below if you disagree with any of my picks, any of my placements. Let me know. I hope you guys have a great draft day this week. It's going to be a really fun day. I'm going to give you all my thoughts on the picks that happened in the first round. Hopefully, a few days after. Give me some grace period, guys. I'm working really hard on this list. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm LinkedAn Savage signing off for New Wave Hockey.